So much about the
What would you say if I turned into all the things you love to hate? And on my way comes crashing through the rotten beams and window panes.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the podcast. Yup, it is episode 14, and I am always your host, Dan Brosman. Yup, I keep coming back to dish out the pain, and you guys keep coming back to take it. So we're all at fault here. But anyway, welcome back, guys. It's great to be back. 2021 is doing okay. You know, I think we all knew that it wasn't going to be much different than 2020, at least at first, but we keep on rolling. I keep on recording, and yes, this week I'm actually recording, unlike 2 weeks ago when I didn't record the first 20 minutes of my podcast and had to go back. So we are ahead of the game today because we are actually recording, and I'm looking and I see that it is recording. So yay for me. All right, so what are we talking about today? Well, first thing first, we're going to talk about a Twitch streamer losing his mind live and on his little son, his baby, which this dude is an absolute class act. And then we have kind of, I want to say the rumor mill has been rolling. They're saying that, you know, Knights of the Old Republic might be getting a new game. It's in development, supposedly. I want to talk about at games. And I thought I would never say that because at games in the past has not been known to produce anything worth talking about, at least in a positive light. But we're going to do that today because I have been kind of impressed with what they have done. I don't have any of their new stuff, but from what I've seen, it looks like they're heading in the right direction. So that's awesome. And I just want to go over and talk about what my gaming goals and collecting goals for 2021 is. Because now that I get more into gaming, I've got more into collecting. And God knows every year I find one more thing to collect for. And the prices of everything. You know, more than any other year, I have taken a pause at the beginning of the year to say, okay, you know, I have all these games. What do I want to do? Because I want to make sure I play some of these games. I just don't want to play them for 2 seconds and then put them back up. I want to invest myself in some of these games, actually beat them, and then also with the collecting side of things, you know, hey, the prices are sky high on a lot of things. So what exactly are my goals? What are some, you know, reasonable expectations for what I should be thinking collecting is going to look like this year for me? So we're going to go over that. And unfortunately, you know, this first topic is not a very pleasant one. I wasn't really going to talk about this. I've been going back and forth because I'm like, man, you know, I told everybody that I was going to be positive this year. But, you know, I want to talk about this because when I started looking into this, I didn't realize how often this kind of stuff happens. Now, I'm not a big guy on Twitch. I barely ever go on there. It's just not my thing, really, unless I know the people personally streaming. It just doesn't interest me. That's just me. I know a lot of people are into Twitch, and it's a great platform from what I've seen. I mean, it's nice. It's nice. So anyway, with the good, you always have the bad. And there's a streamer, or there was a streamer, and I'm going to say his name wrong, but that's okay because this guy is garbage, and his name was Buck Krez. I think that's how you say his name. Anyway, so this guy, this streamer, is pretty much a small-time streamer right now, and I think Twitch had it listed as him having an average viewership of like 5 people. So he's not one of the higher echelon streamers on Twitch. And he plays Madden 21. And I think it's just him playing. I don't think he's playing against anybody else except the computer. So, anyway, he is playing Madden 21, and he has his son sitting on his lap. And something goes wrong in the game where he loses. And he gets mad, and he smashes his controller off the table, breaks it, and starts screaming about how it was a $300 controller. Puts his son on the couch next to him, kind of forcefully. And then, of course, in this, his son must have been a year and a half, 2 years. And then, obviously, because his dad just got done yelling, he starts crying because he doesn't understand what's going on. He's upset. And what does the father do? What does the streamer do? Instead of comforting his son, he looks at him and screams, "Shut the F up." Now, I'm a father. I have a little boy. Not that young anymore, but he's still pretty young. And this broke my heart and made me so angry. That people treat kids like that. And, I know it's just this one incident here that doesn't speak for maybe society as a whole. I don't know what I'm trying to say, but it made me mad. Like, I really, really was angry about this. And so I start looking into this because I'm like, you know what? Maybe this would be a topic to have in the podcast this week. And I'm like, do I really want to do this? I don't know. But I started looking into it, and I was actually really surprised that this is not an uncommon occurrence. Not maybe, specific to what happened here, but like how these streamers lose their shit. And it's like, what is going on here? Like, I'm just finding all these incidences or whatever that these people just losing it. And it's interesting because, the internet, ever since I started my YouTube channel and my podcast, and I've only had a little bit of interaction with people so far because I'm still a small podcast. I'm still a small channel. So I don't reach that many people. But the internet brings a lot of good people. And it brings a lot of bad people because a lot of people figure that they could say and they can do whatever they want on the internet because, they're not really there. They're not really facing that person, where maybe in another situation where they were face to face, they wouldn't say such horrible things. And unfortunately, that's just the name of the game. You try and keep a positive and clean forum for people to come and hang out. But, every now and again, you're going to get those people that just come out of left field and you're like, what the heck was that? But anyway, I'm kind of going off topic here. So, yeah, this guy, obviously, now that it's out there, everybody just railed on this guy. And for a small time there, he had changed the name of his channel to I am sorry 1234556, which I don't, whatever. And it's funny because in the article that I was reading, because I wanted to read up more on what was going on here, and the article, one of the articles that was written here, said that his account had been deleted, and they didn't know if it was by Twitch taking action or if it was by him. But the tab, the About Him tab, where he had wrote was, "Living sober, being a good father and a husband is my mission in life." Well, buddy, if you're out there listening, you failed that mission. Okay? And I think you need to take a good, hard look at what's important to you. Because video games ain't it. Your son should be it. And the fact that that's how you're acting is not okay. And I know he's probably not listening. If you are, But that's okay because this is how I get past it. Not being mad anymore. Not having my heart broken because knowing that that kid's probably screwed for the rest of his life because that's who's raising him. Sorry, guys, if that was a downer, but, you know, I mean, I don't really know where to go with that other than I just wanted to talk about it because I was so angry. And, you know, my wife didn't want to hear about it. She had already heard about it because it was making the rounds on Facebook, and, you know, it got enough traction to where it made it a little bit of a viral thing. And, yeah, she's like, I don't want to hear about it. I don't want to see it because she just can't handle that stuff. It's hard for me to handle it, too. So, anyway, that's it. That's all I'm going to talk about it. Hopefully that guy can, you know, hopefully he can get himself together here and realize that his son should be the most important thing in his life and start acting like it. I hope for his sake and definitely for his son. So as you guys know, I am a huge Star Wars fan. I don't know how many times I can tell you that, but I am a huge Star Wars fan. And I love Star Wars video games. Not all of them, but a lot of them. And one of my favorite ones was the Knights of the Old Republic. And you got to know that I'm a huge Star Wars fan because I don't play RPGs. They're just not my jam. But you put some Star Wars characters in there and make it a whole Star Wars thing, yeah, I'm going to buy it and I'm going to play it. And this was probably the first time I really played and beat an RPG was the first two Star Wars, the Knights of the Old Republic. Now, I'm just going to be honest with you guys. I cheated my ass off in those games because I had them on PC. So, you know, play it how you play it. But, yeah, I cheated my ass off. But the first one was so good. I really liked the second one. The second one was good, but the storyline was kind of weird at the end. It wasn't quite where I thought it was going to go. I don't know. I'm not sure I fully understood exactly what they were getting at the end there. Maybe I did, and it was just there wasn't anything deeper to it. But so anyway, after the first two, you had Knights of the Old Republic MMO, and I did play that, and it's still going. It's a really good game. I don't play it anymore just because I just don't have the time. You know, that's the problem with like those MMOs. If you got other things going on in your life outside of work and stuff, you got a family or whatever, it's just not going to happen, unfortunately. But it's a great game. And so anyway, there was an article out there that was talking about how, you know, there's rumors that there's going to be another one in development here, and the actual information came from a Star Wars insider named Bespin Bulletin, and I didn't even know who this was, so I looked him up, and it looks like he's just deep into everything Star Wars. This guy just is a Star Wars fanatic, and yeah, he seems to have the inside scoop. You know, of course, you know, he's not saying who or what told him, but that there is one in development. And that is not by EA or game developer BioWare, which we all know that BioWare was the original game developer. I want to say the second one was by Obsidian Entertainment. And, you know, if no one had told me that somebody else did the second one, I wouldn't have even known. So, but I believe BioWare had a lot to do with the MMO. I think they're the ones that put all that together. But for whatever reason, EA and BioWare aren't involved in the new one. Whether this is true or not, I don't know. I want it to be true. I know there's a lot of people that want it to be true. But this isn't the first time rumors have kind of spun out. This one seems to be less of a rumor and more of a leak. But you know, time will tell. You know, and in a game like this, who knows how far along they are in development? But my guess is that, you know, game is being made for the new consoles, so and PC, and yeah, I'm really excited. But, previous rumors, had talked about the storyline for this one being kind of a blending of the two first ones, so it kind of goes along with canon that's going on today. Because, when those first two were made, all this Disney stuff wasn't happening. This Disney stuff wasn't anywhere in the picture yet, I don't think. So now that canon has kind of changed, they're kind of, I don't know, to be honest with you, I don't know what they would have to change really, because this happened so far before any of the movies that are happening today. Although now that I think about it, there is that other, I want to say, movie or show that's coming out with the High Republic. So I don't know what time frame that falls in, if it falls in close to this, because I know that the High Republic's going to be in the past compared to the original movies and the movies of today. But, so, I guess I just answered my question as I was going along there. But, yeah, this is great. And I've always said that they need to go back to those times and kind of restart Star Wars a little bit. Because they did, between the first Knights of the Republic, the first ones, and then the MMO, they made such a great storyline with such a rich, universe. I've never figured out why we haven't gone back there with some sort of a TV show or a movie, because you could do a trilogy easy back there. Do the war between the original Sith Empire and the Old Republic, and because back then there just wasn't two Sith like there are nowadays. The Law of Two. This was before the Law of Two. So hopefully, along with this, I'm thinking that maybe they're gonna start, rolling out more stuff around those timelines, because you know what, you guys all know how much of the Mandalorian I'm about. But it's all in that same kind of time period. And, that's fine. But I also, that's getting kind of old a little bit. Let's go back. Let's get some new people that don't have any relation to any of the original characters that happened in the original movies. It's still going to be Star Wars. But then you don't have to worry about them doing something, taking some sort of creative act on their own and messing up, some of the characters that you loved before, like they did with Bryan Johnson. Anyway, we're not going to get into that because we know how sore I am about that. Anyway, so yeah. So hopefully sometime soon we'll get a new Knights of the Old Republic. My guess is, if this is true, since we haven't even seen a trailer or anything teased, that this thing's a ways off. So here's to hoping. So, this next one, even if you're not a hardcore gamer or really into gaming, you might be a little bit familiar with the company At Games. Because At Games has been around for a while. They've released a lot of stuff. I think they did the Atari flashbacks. They had a Sega Genesis. I don't want to say mini, but like the predecessor of the Sega Genesis Mini. And they were supposed to do the Mini originally, and when people heard that, everyone freaked out because, that's pretty much how bad At Games was. It's because, they were just making cheap product, throwing it out there, and it wasn't all that great. And people wanted a little bit more. And so I want to say that, and I could be wrong on this, and I should have looked it up, but I'm just thinking in my mind that At Games got a new head of the company. I don't know, a CEO or something. Maybe I'm wrong about that. But anyway, so about a year and a half ago, you started seeing a little bit of a shift in what they were doing. Yes, they were still kind of releasing that lower end stuff that wasn't all that great. But you started seeing a shift towards maybe a little bit higher end stuff, a little bit better quality. And trust me, everybody that I seen review this stuff went into it skeptical as all hell, because I mean, what is this? What are they giving us here? Because everything else was just seemed half-ass. So, but that stuff was cheap in price. So now they're talking, now they want, $100, $200, $300, whatever items. So now, what are we getting for this? And so they started kind of building this community, this Legends, I want to say series of different consoles that, they're all emulating old games, and they have licenses for a lot of these games. Well, for all of them that they have are licensed. But they also make them very customizable, and they make them pretty good quality, and from what I've seen, the emulation is done fairly well. So I just wanted to go over, because as much as I've talked about, my arcade cabinet, and on my channel how I've done a couple videos on the arcade cabinets that I built, and I talk about stuff that you get from China, like the Pandora's box, that you can buy anywhere online. But those are all, like, the Pandora's boxes are kind of iffy on the quality, and especially with the emulation and the games you're getting on it. But this has it a little bit more wrapped up here, a little bit tighter to the chest here, as it be. So I just want to run down the line here and just go over what they're putting out there now. Now, let me preface this by saying these are my own thoughts. I'm not being paid by them. I'm not sponsored by At Games at all, which I don't know that I'd have to say that, because, I don't think I'm drawing a big crowd here for ad revenue. But anyway, I'm going to say that because I'm kind of going to show these guys in a really good light here, because I like what's going on here. So the first thing you come to, and they kind of started with, was something called the Legends Core. And it's like this circle, I guess it's just like a mini computer, and it holds 100 built-in games. And it can go online, you can hook up, it's got Bluetooth, so for like Bluetooth headsets and hand controllers. And you can also hook up via USB, for the people that don't like, wireless, I guess. But yeah, and they're selling that for $59, and it comes with like 100 games built in. Now, I want to say, though, a lot of those games, well, no, I don't. It's just a mix of stuff. And I will say, the variety of games that they have on here, what's on there, it's okay. It's not great. It's not horrible, but it's okay. It's not bad. And a lot of these things as we go along, you're going to find out are customizable, where you can add stuff. You can tweak, what games are on there, which that's awesome. That makes it even more worth the money. And the next thing you come to is they have a Legends Gamer Mini, which is pretty much one joystick controller. And it's built in, I want to say, and I don't have anything on here. I think there's 100 games on this one too. But you get the controller, the single joystick, and it's kind of like a Pandora's box, but with one joystick. And from everything I've seen, it's really good quality. Again, a good item, and they sell that one for $129. So not too bad. But then, after that, they came out with something called the Legends Gamer Pro. And this is, it's a bigger one. So basically what they did was they took the Mini and they doubled it and added a trackball. So now you have two joysticks, you have the trackball, and it's preloaded with 150 games. And this thing is really nice looking. And they all have kind of the same design, the same look to them, which is great. And I love how they're doing this. They're building their brand by making things quality, but stuff that kind of relates to one another, if that makes any sense. So yeah, so basically this is like if someone took and made a Pandora's box but made it better, is what they did here. And yeah, 150 games. I think you can tweak this one too. And again, these all have, Bluetooth and compatibility for headsets, and you can go online with these things. It's great, and a lot of times they have like scoreboard that you can sign up for. All this is free. I don't know too much about the online stuff because normally when I get stuff that can do that, I'm not all that interested in it anyway. But that's something you guys can take a look at. So the Legends Gamer Pro Twin Stick is $249. So still not too bad, not really. Okay. And then things start getting interesting. And this next item I came really close to buying, and that's the Legends Ultimate Home Arcade, and it's a full-size stand-up arcade machine. And I was so close to picking this up. I almost did before I bought the kit that I just put together, about 3 months ago. And this thing is a full-size cabinet with 300 preloaded games. It has pretty much the same layout as the Gamer Pro. It has the 2 joysticks. It has 2 spinners, which is awesome. And it has a trackball. And, of course, I think it has the 6-button layout as well. And this thing is another one. It has a nice front end. At least it has a decent front end. And, again, the games are pretty good games. They're not, you're not going to look at it and be like, wow. But they left it to where it is very much customizable. So with a little know-how, you can go in there and add more games and this and that, and which is great. I just, it's so nice that you could, because that's a lot of money. Let's not kid ourselves. $600 is no small chunk of change. And to be able to customize it like you want just makes that so much better for customers and the people out there that are going to buy this. It's kudos to you guys. Okay. So now the next thing coming up here, so the full size, it comes with some graphics on the side that you can put on or not. They're just okay. They're okay. They're not the best. They're not whatever. And that's this whole machine. This machine is whatever you want to make it, pretty much. If you just want to have the actual machine that shows up, it's going to look good in your game room. It's going to look good in your living room. It's going to look good in your bedroom until your wife says, get it out of here, right? But for $600 compared to other like full-size arcade machines out there, brother, you are not going to get anywhere close to that. So this thing is a really good deal. At least I feel that it is. So now they started sending out review units for their next item that they got coming out, and I am really excited about this. And I didn't think I would be, but I am after seeing these reviews. And that's something called the Legend Pinball Virtual Pinball Machine. And what it is, obviously it's not a real pinball machine, but it's a 32-inch high-def LCD display where it has different boards on there. And it's kind of inlaid into the actual machine and glass over it. So it almost looks like it's the real thing. It's so cool. And it's not quite the size of a full-size pinball machine, but it's close. It's really close enough. And that was the one thing that kind of turned me off from, I think it was the 1UP arcade one that they were coming out with. I don't even know if they ever came out with it, but it was how small it was going to be. Because I'm like, not really my thing. But now this thing comes out, and there's been some reviewers that have gone over it that have been taller individuals, and they said that, it's fine. It's comfortable. And not only does it have that 32-inch LED screen as the main board on there, but it also on the back panel where you have the score and whatever graphics. It also has let me see here. It is a 15.6-inch LCD monitor, and then depending on what machine you bring up to play at that instance, the graphics change. That's so cool. And there's 22 different Yeah, different boards on there. So pretty much you're going to have 22 different machines to play here, pinball machines to play. Now, I've heard that, they may not be the most exciting ones, but from what I've seen, that's pretty cool. I mean, come on, guys. I mean, what are we talking here? This ain't going to be, an actual pinball machine, as great as that is, because nothing can replace that. But this is pretty damn cool. And for a while, I've always thought about getting a pinball machine, but there are two things that always stop me from going down that road. Number one is the price, because those things are expensive. Those new ones start at $4,000 and they can go all the way up to $12,000 and maybe even more than that. So that pretty much ixnays that, because if I spend that money, if I spent $7,000 on a pinball machine and the wife found out about it, she'd be getting that pinball machine in the divorce. You know what I'm saying? So anyway, that, and then, pinball machines have a lot of working parts, moving parts, and stuff gets broken, and you either have to know how to fix it or find somebody. And I'm like, man, I do not want to have to learn how to fix one of these things, and I can't imagine what the cost would be to have either someone come out here or the hassle to having to load this thing up and take it somewhere. So it's like, nah, it's okay. But with this thing, all you got to do is find a spot for it to go. And it's not $7,000. This thing is, they have it listed as, I want to say it was $700. I wrote that down, but I didn't see it on their website. But I want to say that one of the reviews I seen said it was going to be about $700, which is, it is expensive. It is expensive, but it seems like what you are getting, it's going to be well worth it. And it also looks like this is going to be very much customizable. So you're going to be able to put maybe different machines on there, different games, which is fantastic. And who knows? I mean, it doesn't take people too long once these things get out in the wild to start hacking them. So who knows how cool this thing might actually turn out to be. And for $700, if you have it and you always wanted a pinball machine, I don't think you're going to find anything, better than this. I mean, until somebody else builds something. Because everything else I've seen as far as virtual pinball machines is not that great, really. So, I know I was kind of rambling on there about at games, but, this stuff is worth taking a look at. It really is. I mean, for the prices, with the price of retro gaming nowadays during the pandemic, these things come with preloaded games, and you'll be able to put more games on them if you want. It seems like it would probably be, as far as, money-wise, more economical. And, before we end this segment, too, and At Games doesn't make this, but Atari came out with something very similar to the At Game Gamer Pro, and that is the Ultimate Atari Fight Stick. And again, this is a twin stick with a trackball, just like the Gamer Pro, but it has a Raspberry Pi 3B Plus in it with a 32 gigabyte micro SD card, and it has 100 games on there. Now, with it being Atari, it's probably going to be a lot of first-party Atari games, 2,600 games. But, with it being a Raspberry Pi, you're going to be able to put, whatever games are on there. And this thing looks like it's built like a beast. This thing is solid. And I don't have this, but I've seen it in the stores. And I've seen it online, too. But I have firsthand been around it, actually, now that I think about it. The same place that I got my arcade cabinet kit, they were selling this, Micro Center, and this thing's legit. And I've almost thought about picking one of these up to take the Pandora's box out of my original arcade cabinet and putting this in there. I'm still thinking about it. I don't know, maybe, but this comes at about $200. But I have seen it on sale for around $175. So, and that at that price, dude, that is a steal. So if you're thinking about, wanting to pick up something like this, definitely check that out. And I think they sell it on Amazon, but Amazon seemed like it was a little pricey. And they have different models of this. So you gotta make sure what you want is what you're getting. You gotta look at the description. But because I know there was one that said it was for $224 for the twin stick with the trackball and everything, and I was like, nah, that's a lot more than I've seen at other places. So anyway, make sure if you're gonna buy one of those, if you're interested, to do your shopping. But I think all the at-game stuff you can only buy off their website, or I think Sam's Club may also may sell those. I think. Anywho, all right. So as I ramble on here, we're in a new year, and I want to talk about maybe where I want to go with my gaming this year, where I want to go with my collecting, because this year was kind of rough for me as far as collecting, because I really didn't do a lot of it. Now, a lot of that's in part because I was buying equipment to do this podcast and to start my YouTube channel, so I was kind of putting money towards that. And I hope you guys appreciate that. But anyway, now it was rough because with the prices going up and the prices still going up, I pretty much stopped collecting anything retro. And it wasn't by choice. It just happened to be that way because everything's so dang expensive. Stuff that I bought for, $40 a year and a half, 2 years ago is going for $80 to $100 now. And it's like, okay, if you thought there was a bubble before the pandemic hit, man, there's definitely a bubble right now. And that's going to pop. So if you guys got a lot of stuff that you bought during the pandemic, I would suggest trying to sell it now. Anyway, yeah, I didn't do a lot of retro collecting this year. I didn't do a lot of collecting, period. I bought bigger stuff, namely the arcade cabinet, and as far as collecting, I'm thinking back here, but I really didn't. And part of that is also too is I didn't want to spend a lot of money because I was kind of saving for thinking I was going to get one of these new consoles, and I haven't been able to pick one up yet, so that money hasn't really been spent. Well, it has. My arcade cabinet. But anyway. So along with the collecting, I also wanted to think about what do I want to do gaming, because I come down here sometimes it's like, what do I want to game? What game do I want to pick? And this year I really want to focus on certain games, finishing them. And I really want to get into like a game that takes more than a sit down for 15-minute game. Like maybe Zelda Breath of the Wild, which I don't have yet, but I really need to get something like that. And I have other games. I have, Skyrim, Elder Scrolls that I played 2 seconds of when I first got it, and I'm thinking about getting into that. I have all the Mass Effects that I barely played the first one. So I'm thinking about getting into that. Although I want to say Mass Effect is an RPG. I could be wrong. I don't know. It was one of those pickups where I bought it because of name and they were all cheap. But one day I'll get to those. But yeah, so that's where I'm at right now. And I've already started by going back to the basics. I wanted to get good at the original Super Mario Brothers games again. I can almost no death run. Ooh, hold on here, folks. Hold on. We need a little bit of a drink here. I'm just rambling. Okay, we're back. But yeah, I can almost no death run. Oh God, no death run. The original Super Mario Brothers, and then I want to go to the second one and the third one. I just want to get good at those older games, because I don't really know that you get the same hand-eye coordination with newer games that I used to have when I was a kid growing up with a Nintendo. So I really want to put the hammer down that. And some of these shooters that are hard, like R-Type or that Eliminate Down, that I like that's on the Mega Drive. Those games that just kick your ass no matter what. I'd really like to get good at those types of games. And that's really what I want to go with this year, is just sit down and do some hardcore gaming and just pound it out and practice and get that muscle memory back that I used to have. Because, I've talked about this before. When I went to PC gaming and I came back, man, I lost so much of that. So much of it. And then, modern gaming happened. So when I went back to consoles, you still weren't getting that, that hand-eye coordination with that newer stuff. I don't think. So, yeah. I don't know what game I'm going to play when it comes to the long play. Like I said, Breath of the Wild's the one that I'm kind of thinking of. But, I got these other Zelda games that I barely played too. I have, Ocarina of Time. I have, Link to the Past, which I'm thinking about playing. And I have, what was that new, that re-released this year on the Switch? That Link game. Link Awakens or something. And I played that a little bit, and I should probably get into that. But I don't think that that's a long game. But I do want to finish it. So add that onto the pile of things. And we're gonna take a list here of things that I want done. And then at the end of this year, we're gonna find out how many of them I really did. And I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. My eyes might be bigger than my stomach, if you know what I mean. And I might not get any of this stuff done. But, I figured this year, since the past year has been a blur, that maybe this year, like, I'm going to hunker down and start getting myself together here and playing some games that kicked my ass in the past. And I want to own them. I want to own these games. I want to sit down and just destroy these games. And if any of you guys have any games that, you're playing right now, long play games that, is more than just, 15 minutes, 15, 20-minute games, something that's, newer that you want to tell me about that maybe I should look into as my long play game this year, yeah, leave me, if you're listening on YouTube, comments in the description below, let me know. Because with newer games, and especially games like that, I'm not really in the know. Like, I'm more of a retro guy. And as far as the collecting goes, I know I said that I didn't do too much last year. And this year, I really want to do TurboGrafx. And I say that, and I'm like, this is probably the worst time to collect for TurboGrafx 16 because it was expensive even before the pandemic, and it hasn't gotten any better. And I think I got like 5 games, and one of them's a PC Engine game because I just didn't want to spend the TurboGrafx 16 price. And I want to start collecting for Famicom, and I just bought my first Famicom game the other day, and it was recommended by Gary from Rock Solid Gaming. So I went on eBay and picked up Super Mario Brothers USA, which, come to find out, I thought was a hack, but it's not. It is the U.S. version of Super Mario Brothers 2 released in Japan, which I thought was awesome because I thought they only got the lost level version, the real hard one over there. I didn't know that they even released that over there. And one day I would like to get a copy of Doki Doki Panic, not necessarily the disc system because I don't know that I'm interested in buying that thing, but I would like to get a copy of that, maybe on a repro cart to play on the actual Nintendo, the U.S. System over here. And if you guys are asking, what's Doki Doki Panic? Well, Doki Doki Panic was a game that they turned into Super Mario Brothers 2 for the U.S. because the Japanese game was balls hard, and it's hard. And if anybody has the Super Nintendo cart, the All-Star cart, the Lost Levels on there, that's the Japanese Super Mario Brothers 2. It's a hard game. And you know what? That was one of the games last year that I said to myself, if I had any goals that I was going to try and own, the Japanese Super Mario Brothers 2. And that idea lasted all of about 5 minutes. And then I turned the game off and I was like, I got to find another goal. It is that hard. It is so insanely hard. You know, they say Nintendo hard, but good God, that is like Nintendo hard squared. Crazy. Well, guys, I think that just about wraps it up. Man, I went 45 minutes with a full recording here, and I didn't shut it off at any point. So we're gonna put that down in the positive section. And I think going forward here, you know, we're gonna start this New Year's off, you know, sitting down, hunkering down, playing some games, getting good at them. You know, I'm tired of this loosey-goosey stuff. I'm going to kick some ass here. And you know what? If I get good at some of these games, I'm going to probably put them out as a Let's Play. So you guys can all see and wonder, man, Dan, look how good you play. You are the man. Or not. No, I don't think anybody will ever say that. But it'd be nice, you know, if you guys want to lie and tell me that I'm good at playing games. That would be nice too. All right, guys, I'm just rambling. I'm going to get out of here. I'm going to stop wasting your time. Thanks for tuning in, guys. Until I see you next time, goodbye and good night.